Close your eyes and imagine this. The president of France and the president of Brazil are meeting. Two big economies and militaries, two seasoned world leaders. Where do you picture them meeting? Maybe in a plush hotel or a presidential palace? But the actual meeting happened elsewhere in the middle of a jungle. That's right. Emmanuel Macron is on a trip to South America, and on Tuesday he landed in the Brazilian town of Belém. President Lula of Brazil welcomed him. Then both men took a boat ride together. Their destination, the island of Combu in the Amazon jungle. It was diplomacy, Jumanji style.
Aí onde você está, exatamente onde você está, por favor. Salta na frente da luz. Mas por favor, agora.
Now to the business. What were Macron and Lula doing in the jungle? Trying to save it. Both men announced a project to protect the Amazon. The plan is to invest $1.1 billion. This money will be spread across 4 years. And where will it come from? Both state funds and the private sector. We're talking about $1 billion conservation push, and a much needed one. The Amazon is the largest tropical rainforest in the world. It covers around 2.5 million square kilometers. It holds 200 billion tons of carbon. We're talking about a world within a world. That's how vast the Amazon is. If this forest disappears, it will affect the earth. It could accelerate climate change, so protecting it is a global responsibility. But Lula's predecessor did not buy any of this. That's Jair Bolsonaro. Under his rule, deforestation in the Amazon reached new records. Lula says he's trying to correct that. He claims deforestation has fallen 34% under him. But how does France come into the picture? What does Macron gain from all of this? For starters, France is an Amazonian power. They have an overseas territory in South America. It's called French Guiana. And this territory borders Brazil. They share a 700-kilometer long boundary. It's actually the longest French border, 700 kilometers. So France has a direct stake here. It wants to keep the locals and tribes happy. President Macron has taken a step in that direction. He awarded the Legion of Honor to an indigenous leader. It's the highest civilian award in France. He also promised to continue the fight for preserving the Amazon.
Very modestly, I wanted to say that we will continue to lead it alongside you. When it was necessary to support the foundation and preserve our part of the forest, we were there and we will continue to be there. With President Lula today, and therefore even stronger, because this fight has not found its end. Because today, you are still fighting for the recognition of your native land.
So claps all around, but climate isn't the only agenda here. There's a lot more on the table, especially on the economic front. Brazil is a rising star in the global south. It's also the biggest economy in South America. France has already invested some $40 billion in Brazil. It's the top foreign employer in the country, and Macron will be keen to expand that. He's traveling with a contingent of 120 business leaders. It tells you what he's thinking. Also important is a political reset. You see, Macron has not been able to focus on South America. In fact, he hadn't visited the continent as president, not until this week. This is his first. And a big reason for that was Lula's predecessor. In 2019, Bolsonaro mocked Macron's wife, the First Lady of France. Someone on social media said that Bolsonaro's wife was better looking than Macron's wife, and Bolsonaro endorsed it. So as you would expect, Macron hit back.
What can I say? It's sad. It's sad for him firstly and for Brazilians. And since I have a lot of friendship and respect for the Brazilian nation, I hope that they will very soon have a president who behaves in the right way.
Now, Bolsonaro ruled from 2019 to 2022. That was time lost for Macron. Now, with Lula in office, he's playing catch-up. He could use Brazil's help to curry favors in the global south. We saw an attempt last year at the BRICS. Macron reportedly tried to get an invite to the summit. At that point, Russia pushed back. But with more members on his side, who knows? Maybe Macron will make headway. Of course, a lot depends on Lula too. His background is very different from that of Emmanuel Macron. The French president is a centrist and a former banker. But Lula is a bona fide leftist. As a teenager, he worked in metal factories. So we're talking about two very different leaders. But then again, when has that stopped Emmanuel Macron?